G'day guys, welcome back to another AFL tipping video. Very sorry this is a bit later than normal because I've been very sick, as you can probably tell with my voice. I had a very bad cold. But anyway, I thought I'd provide a bit more insight with my tipping rather than just using the PowerPoints as I have during the home and away season, and go through very briefly my my AFL ladder predictions, where the finalists end up finishing and all of that, and give you my big calls, and that's pretty much the basis of this video. So anyway, before I get started on my tips, special shout out to Ethan Collins for winning this week's tipping challenge. Well done, Ethan. Please subscribe to his channel, and yes, if you want a chance to win a shout out, then please tip the winning team out of Adelaide and Collingwood of this Thursday night, and give me the closest, does not necessarily have to be the correct margin, but the closest margin to receive a shout out on this channel. Now, moving on to the finals, we'll first start off with Thursday night's game between the first place Adelaide Crows and the fourth place Collingwood Magpies. As I had previously mentioned, this will be the tipping challenge match, so yes, as I've already said, yes, please tell me who you reckon will win, and please provide a margin as well, and you have a chance to win a shout out. But anyway, my thoughts about this game. Well, I think before the season started, I predicted the Adelaide Crows to finish 6th on the ladder, and if you haven't already, feel free to check out my pre-AFL ladder predictions video. I'll leave it in the description down below. Yes, so anyway, I think I tipped Adelaide to finish 6th on the ladder. I thought they were going to rise after finishing in the bottom 4 in 2024. I thought they would be one of the biggest rises, and they have risen quite a lot. Not only in the top 8, but first on the ladder. Not what I was expecting. I mean, I did expect them to rise, but not first place, I'll admit. On the other hand, I tipped the Collingwood Magpies to finish 11th on the ladder. Yeah, I know, it's a very, very bad prediction by myself there, but I mean, before the season started, Collingwood were one of the hardest, if not the hardest team to predict where to finish, because they have one of the oldest, if not the oldest lists, and so I could see where they would go, whether they would be finish very high on the ladder, or even very low on the ladder, and I thought, because their list is very old, pretty old, and that, I thought they were going to crumble at the end there and finish 11th. But anyway, a huge qualifying final coming up here. These two teams faced off against each other at the Adelaide Oval not too long ago. A lot of controversy surrounding that game. It was a very, very thrilling finish to that game, that's for sure. But anyway, who do I reckon will win? Well, because I know Adelaide have been very impressive, probably the most impressive team this year, in my opinion. But this is going to be their first finals game in 8 years for the Crows. I'm sure a lot of the players for the Crows, that because they've never played finals before, they'll be under all sorts of pressure, And whereas the Collingwood players, well, they've had experience with finals, that. So for that reason, I could be horribly wrong with my prediction, but I'm going to go the Collingwood Magpies to win qualifying final 1 by 22 points. With my big call is that Collingwood will lead for at least 95% of the game. Moving on to the second qualifying final match, a Friday night blockbuster between the second place Geelong Cats and the third place Brisbane Lions at the MCG. Now, before the season started, I actually predicted the Geelong Cats to finish second on the ladder, so woohoo, I got that correct. I predicted the Brisbane Lions to finish 7th on the ladder, I believe. I thought they're gonna decline a little bit, because they've spent all those years playing in finals, and now that they finally won the premiership last year, I thought the players wouldn't be as motivated, so I thought they would decline overall this season. But no, they impressed me. They finished in the top 4. They're still going strong. They still desperately want to go back to back, So I can see them doing a lot of damage in finals. But you know what? Even though in recent history, I think the last 3 encounters between the Cats and the Lions have gotten the wins. Last year's preliminary final between the two sides, the Lions ended up winning after trailing quite comfortably at half-time. And yeah, both of these teams have faced each other twice during the home and away season, and the Lions have come out on top both times. But you know what? I reckon there's going to be a revenge factor here. I reckon Geelong will end up winning this game in a thriller by just 3 points. And my big call is that Jeremy Cameron will have a big game and kick 4 or more goals. Now, moving on to the first elimination final match between the 5th placed GWS Giants and the 8th placed Hawthorn Hawks at NG Stadium on a Saturday afternoon. Now, surprisingly enough, I actually got both of those teams' ladder predictions correct. I predicted GWS to finish 5th and Hawthorn to finish 8th. So wow, oh my gosh. I'm on a roll here, got already three predictions correct so far for my ladder. But anyway, yeah, this will be an interesting game. I don't believe Hawthorn have ever won at NG Stadium before, but you know, they're a young side, you know, they can definitely pull off an upset. In fact, you know, with any of these finals games, it's always dodgy, you know, unless if one team has a substantial amount of injuries, you know. So yeah, who knows what will happen in that game. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Hawthorn win, but I reckon just because it's at NG Stadium, and as I've already mentioned, Hawthorn have never won at NG Stadium before. So I'm gonna back in the Giants here to win this game, and because you know last year with I think last year GWS finished 4th and they went out in straight sets, and they should have won both of those games that they lost. You know, they should have beaten Sydney in the qualifying final if they hadn't choked in the last quarter, and they should have definitely beaten Brisbane. They were up by like, what was it, like 40 odd something points during the third quarter, and they ended up choking that game and lost by like 6 points or something. But yeah, you know, I reckon there's that motivation factor that GWS players don't want to like let their coach down and their fans down and all that. So I reckon GWS will come out on top here. I'll say the Giants win this game by 12 points. And my big call is that both sides will score a combined 7 or more behinds. Now, moving on to the second elimination final match between the 6th place Fremantle Dockers and their 7th place Gold Coast Suns at Optus Stadium on a Saturday night blockbuster. Before this season started, I had the Fremantle Dockers finishing 4th on the ladder, and I had the Gold Coast Suns finishing 10th on the ladder, I believe. Yeah, you know, Fremantle could have definitely finished 4th. I mean, 16 wins and 7 losses is a pretty good record in my opinion, just unlucky this year because we've had so many competitive teams throughout the season, you know, we're unlucky to miss out on the top 4 spot. But yeah, at least we're in the finals. And as for the Gold Coast Suns, you know, it was very tough, you know, whether or not they'll just make the finals or just miss out on finals. I thought they were going to just miss out on finals again this year, but no, they proved me wrong. They made the finals. Wow, we made finals. You know, after that disappointing loss against the Brisbane Lions a couple weeks ago, I thought we were done for. Like, I didn't give us really any chance against the Bulldogs. But no, they proved me wrong. You know, they weren't going to let what happened towards the back half of last season affect them. Happen to them again this year, you know. So I feel like the Freo players have matured a lot since last year. And yeah, they put on a strong performance, especially in those second and third quarters against the Bulldogs. And yeah, they proved to us why they belong in the finals. And as for Gold Coast, well, you know, they came off such a disappointing loss against Port Adelaide during round 24 on a Friday night. But I mean, of course, Port Adelaide, they were playing for Ken Hinkley and Travis Spoke. But then, of course, the Gold Coast Suns were able to put on such a dominant performance against an injury-depleted Essendon side. And yeah, they ended up winning that match by 95 points to cement themselves the first ever finals match in the club history. So yeah, this is such a historic moment for the Gold Coast Suns, you know. And yeah, you know, even though I think in the odds Fremantle are currently the biggest favourites to win in the first week of finals, but I'm not going to underestimate the Gold Coast Suns here. You know, they've got a lot of great players. They play great brand of football that relies on like leadership and contested footy and all that, you know. And yeah, I'm particularly worried about players like Matt Rao and Noah Anderson, you know. I think if I was Fremantle, I would tag Noah Anderson, you know, definitely. But yeah, you know, I reckon because this is going to be Nathan Fyfe's final game in Perth, and it could be Nat Fyfe's final ever AFL game, you know. And because it's in Perth, I expect a very big Freo crowd at the game. You know, it's probably going to be the most lopsided crowd of all the finals. So for that reason, I'm going to back the Dockers to win this game here. But, you know, it's not going to be, I don't reckon it'll be easy. I'm going to back in the Dockers to win this game by 7 points. With my big calls that Amos, Tracy and Voss will all combine for 8 or more goals. So yeah, those are all my finals predictions for week 1, you know. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to give it a like, and I'm sure you've all subscribed to me by now, but if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It means the world to me, and yes, feel free to leave a notification down below. And as I've already mentioned earlier in this video, please leave a tip who will win between Adelaide and Collingwood, and how much they'll win by, to earn yourselves a chance to win a shout out on my YouTube channel. I hope you all have had a great weekend. I hope you all have a great week. Best of luck to the finals. Best of luck to your team in the finals if your team is playing. And yeah, I'll see you all next time.